Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Dr. Ellis,
Policy 5020,
Oh, we're live. I don't know if you want to ask some questions.
C2, where we were supposed to be
Yeah.
changing guidance counselor to school counselor. There was one in there that didn't update. Yeah.
Unknown caller.
I can't hear anything.
So we got 3 people now.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Dean,
Dean's here.
all righty, we'll get started as soon as I can get signed up.
Dr. Ellis,
Sir,
before you sign off, we need to have a conversation.
what?
Before you sign off, we need to have a conversation.
You may just call you?
Yes, sir.
Um,
Sort of receptive input.
no. Get used to shortcuts and when they're not there. All righty, I apologize for holding up the meeting, but when I lose my shortcut and it requires all these extra things, I apologize. I would like to call the policy committee to order. And just to check the roll, I think we have a quorum. We have Lank Dutton, Dean Edwards, and we have, who's the third person?
You,
Me.
yes,
Is that all?
that is it right now.
Oh, okay, I was thinking we had another person. But anyway, we have a quorum, so we'll go on. The first thing on the agenda is minutes from our last meeting. And there is one correction to the minutes that I would like to make. It shows Ms. Washington as a voting member. She is not a voting member of the committee, even though she was here. So if we could make that correction to the minutes. Are there any other corrections to the minutes?
No, ma'am.
If
No, ma'am.
not, all righty, with that correction, then is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we'll accept the minutes as presented. If there is no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is our policy updates from NCSBA, substantive changes. Chris?
Okay, we'll go in order of the memo that was shared with everyone. So we'll start with policy 2440, which is policy review and evaluation. The change in here was a recommended change, adding a provision to give the superintendent authority to make minor changes to correct typographical, grammatical, or clerical errors in policies, which would be effective immediately, and would be subject to ratification by the board at its next board meeting. Are there any questions or discussions for that policy?
If there are no questions, then we'll go on to the next one. 3620.
Um, 36,
Well, 2610 is
Yeah.
actually next in order.
do that one, so we don't. So 2610 is board attorney, and this is an optional change that adds circumstances under which staff may consult with the board attorney. And so the adjustment is made in the second paragraph there that says the other staff may consult with the board attorney only with prior approval from the superintendent or designee. And that is the only change in that policy.
Other questions? Policy 3620.
So policy 3620 is extracurricular activities and student organizations. There was some modifications to the language in section A and then revisions to the language in section C2. Section A modified the language regarding attendance requirements for participation in extracurricular activities so that it's consistent with policy 4400. And then it clarified language C under military children. Actually, the previous section was titled Transitioning Military Students, and it's renamed Military Children. And then there were adjustments policy 1742, which was one of those that were added up in the body of the policy.
Other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's see here. The last policy in that grouping We have now the group with.
I think we
only-
did have one additional. There was policy 7232, discrimination and harassment in the workplace. And we have Ms. Batts and Mr. Henderson here to share the adjustments to those policies.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Policy 7232 is discrimination and harassment in the workplace. And the update is to add parentheticals to indicate that sex includes pregnancy, childbirth, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And then we would also want to update the legal references in this policy.
Are there questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, then, thank you. We'll move on to the next group then. We have only minor changes to wording or legal references or cross references. Chris, the first one is 1310/4002.
Did we want to go individually through these? They all were just in the no changes in the body of the policy. You want to go individually through them still?
What is
It's
the
up to you.
pleasure of the members? These policies just updated legal references or cross. To do each one separately.
If we're ever to cover it in one comment or one series of
Mhm.
comments, I would be fine with that.
I'm sorry.
If we can canvas everything, but by describing the changes that are pretty uniform across these, I would be fine with that.
I can do that. Okay, so all of them, with the exception of one, added either legal references or the hyperlinks in the bottom of the policy. So just after the body of the policy. The only change that was made within the body of the policy is to the visitors to schools policy. And that policy just adjusted guidance counselor to be consistent with state board policy and renamed that school counselor. So it was just removing the word guidance and replacing it with the word school to describe a counselor.
Just to get the policy numbers
Okay.
in the record. 1310/4002, excuse me. 3230/7330. 3460/5130. 4050, 4270 /6145, 4700, 5020, 5070/7350, 5071/7351,
Ms.
52.
Bullock,
I'm sorry.
Ms. Chair, I apologize. It's Lindsay over here.
Oh,
It's all right. And Chris, I just want to make sure that 5071 does have some additional updates in the body of the policy. I don't know that they're what we would necessarily call massively substantive, but they do change. There are some changes within the body of the policy. I just wanted to point that out in case the board wanted to look at that one. Again, I don't know that it's significant, but
Yes, you are right. I was looking at the center column, but that one did have additional.
okay, can you just tell us what that change is, Chris?
I'm gonna need to pull that one up. Hold on one second. So the policy is electronically stored information retention and /73, personal technology to conduct school business. There were no changes to that particular policy. It was just referencing it.
Then- And 6140. Those are the policies. Within that group, are there any questions or any discussion?
No.
Amen.
All right. Then we have a sheet on our listing of policies. The policies were not in Assembly, but they were in the email. If we looked at those policies, Lank and Dean, then we'll go ahead and discuss them today. But if not, we can put them for next month. Would you like to go on with them today, or these are updates for the spring of 2021, and I'm talking about policy 6210, which corrects a legal reference. Policy 6220, updates legal references. Policy 6230 removes an outdated reference in the text and legal references as legal reference. 7100 updates legal references. 7130 updates legal references. And 7430 updates legal references. And 9020 updates hyperlinks and legal references and other resources sections. Do you want to go ahead with those today or put them off till next month since they were not in Assembly? If you looked at the agenda in Assembly, you didn't see these policies, but if you looked at the email, these policies were there. They're all minor changes, legal updates, but what is your pleasure?
Dean?
My pleasure is to move forward with it. Go ahead and make it happen.
Yeah, man. Famous last words, but I think we have time. We've moved through everything else pretty quickly. So if you
All right.
wanted to include that, I would be in favor of it.
All right, so since they are not on the agenda, we need to amend the agenda, do we not?
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to amend the agenda to include the policies that I just read out?
I make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda to include the custom policy updates for spring 2021. That would include policy 6210, 6220, 6230, 7100, 7130, 7400, and 9020. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the motion carries, and we will make this item on the agenda, item 6. The last one we have is item 5, so we will make these item 6, and we will move the adjournment down to item number 7. Chris?
Ms. Bullock, I apologize. We actually did skip one additional policy that was in there, which was a district adjustment to policy 7510. It's actually item 4 on your agenda. 7510 is leave.
Okay, well, since we're on these, let's do these and then I'll go
Okay,
back.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Is there any comment you would like to make on these policies, Chris?
No, I think you
They're
covered it.
self-explanatory, really.
Mhm.
Are there questions about the 7 policies I just read off? Dean?
I have no questions.
Okay, then we'll go back up now to item number 4, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see, 7510. Okay, Chris.
Okay, I'm going to invite Ms. Batts back up here.
Policy 7510 deals with COVID leave. In this policy, we need to extend the date from 2020, 2021 to 2021, 2022.
And that was actually the contagious disease
I'm sorry.
leave,
contagious
yes,
disease.
due to COVID-19. The COVID leave, I don't believe is extending.
Any questions or comments?
Are there any?
Madam Chair,
change-
may I ask-
I'm sorry, hold on just a minute, Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Lang speaking.
I was just gonna, are there any changes other than the extending of the maturity date or the termination date to the prior policy? Thank you.
Okay, Bill.
Mr. Lang asked my question. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no other comments, is there a motion that we recommend approval to the full board for the policies that we've discussed this evening?
So moved.
And second,
It's been moved and seconded that we recommend to the full board approval of the policies that we've discussed this afternoon. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Dean?
aye.
And I miss aye. Motion carried. Is there anything else to claim our attention this evening for the policy committee? If not, I declare the meeting adjourned and thank you so much for your